Hey there, beautiful teachers. Welcome back to Vivid Practice. I'm Nicola Canton. Today is a quick practice tip for you, and this is probably the simplest of all the practice games that I've shared. That doesn't mean it's not effective. So this is called Koala Kangaroo Caribou. You can change the animals if you want, but I went for the K sounds when I created this one. This is so simple. We need to talk with students first about those different animals and how fast or slow they are. Now, your students might not be familiar with some of the animals, and I think that's great because it opens up a little bit of a chat and you could look up a couple of photos. You don't want to spend a huge amount of time, of course, looking at animals on the internet together, but just making sure they know what each of those are and kind of how they move and thinking about them together. So the koala is very slow. And I'm fortunate enough that I actually got to hold a koala once. So I always tell my students about that and how slow and sleepy they are and how they sleep. I think it's like 19 or 20 hours a day, something crazy like that. So they're pretty slow and sleepy animals. So that's the koala. Then we go to the kangaroo. Okay, how fast is a kangaroo? Pretty fast. Now, there's a reason, apart from the K sounds, that I didn't choose cheetah, because I don't want something really fast. A kangaroo is pretty fast, right? And then we've got a caribou. Of course, they can run as well, but we're going to picture them walking along, right? So this strategy is simply to play the piece or section we're working on. A koala speed, super slow. Kangaroo speed, pretty fast. And then caribou speed, medium. And that's it. That's all it means, right? Koala, then kangaroo, then caribou. But it's a bit of a fun twist on playing at 3 different speeds. And if they're practicing it more times than that, it doesn't mean they can only play the thing 3 times. They would repeat those. So koala again, kangaroo again, caribou again. I found one of the biggest things that comes up with students when they're going up into intermediate level. If they don't get this part of practice by this point, it tends to hold them back a huge amount, and that's just the importance of playing at different tempi. Don't stick with your performance tempo even when you're able to play it at that. It's not that we practice slowly until we can practice fast, it's that we know what speed our performance tempo is, and when we're practicing in performance mode, sure, we play it at that tempo. But even when we know a piece very well, we still need to do slow, medium, and fast practice. Slow, medium, and full tempo practice, right? And I like it in this order. So slow first, so that, they start out by actually paying attention to what they're reading and taking their time. And then jumping straight into kangaroo, fast or fast-ish, so that they really put it to the test. And then scaling that back a bit to find a medium tempo that feels comfortable. And if it is a piece that they eventually need to be able to play quite quickly, then this is also going to help them to gradually increase their tempo. Because we want, if you're playing a piece that's supposed to be prestissimo, we want that to feel like the caribou, like in our comfort zone. We don't want it to feel like we're just rolling down a hill and we don't know what's going to happen. So the 3 speeds thing helps with that. And in some cases, sure, with students I'm talking about specific metronome marks that they need to practice at. But in a lot of other cases, I really want them to take control of it. And I want to gradually have them learn and feel that slow practice is perfectly valuable and that they can control their tempo by themselves. That takes time. So in the beginning, this is going to be something you just do in lessons, because then you're there to say, hang on. A koala can't go that fast. Let's try that again, right? Until they actually play the whole thing slowly enough and regulate themselves. And then they get to have fun and go super fast and make a bunch of mistakes, and that's fine. And then they go to the medium tempo and then rinse and repeat as many times as they want to in the practice session or in the lesson. So let me know if you have other ways that you talk about practice speed with students. If you do some kind of 3-step system like this, I'd love to hear about it. Maybe you use different animals for your example. As I say, they could be anything. So I'd love to hear what yours are if you use animals for this. I know we'll talk about snail speed and stuff a lot, but I like the measured koala for this one. I'd love to hear your perspective on it. And I hope you'll join me back here for more practice tips soon.